Yeah.
Yeah, some travel and all these conferences, meetings.
Hmm. Yeah, it is like that. That's okay. So I'm glad you're here today. So
Yeah, so I made an effort, pushed everything today because it's been a while and haven't been listening to you for a quite long time.
yeah, yeah. This is more like I started a couple of days ago or yesterday. I don't remember, but I wanted to uh, give something about what is the self-efficacy, what is the personality, what is the clarity, what are the things people are really like. For example, you are saying I was busy with things, and then you may have internally sometimes where I'm going, what I'm doing. That everybody has that, right? So that kind of it's not that somebody can say what is good for you or how you should go, but in your own mind, having that alignment with what you really think is valuable, what you are doing, how you are forced to do some things, and how you don't want to be. All those things come up, right? So a lot of people push this aside because they kind of really don't care for the clarity. But clarity itself is really a boon. It's like a blessing, you know. Then you don't regret down the line. Oh, I didn't have to waste that much of time and energy and all the things that I have done. So I see that quite often. At our age, young people come with different questions and they have their own energy. They want to find out what is their role in life, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, so clarity itself is something we're going to explore today and see how to come to that and also be loyal to that. Hi, Lois. Welcome. So I see her on Wisdom. So she's also a good friend of mine. So she has shown up after a long time. So she's very much on the spiritual path too. She kind of looks inside and then talks about that kind of clarity, in spirituality. So, but I'm not even taking the spirituality, but I'm talking about how people are not clear about what they want to do, what they could do, how they should proceed in their career or in their time. Mechanically, people determine like you got to get this education, you got to get married, you got to have children, and you got to make this much money and do all those things are swept off. But very few people really realize this is what I want to do in my life, and then they are doing. See, it's not just thinking about it or dreaming about it, but they're so clear they will withstand all pressures from the society, from the family, from the traditions, and then they come up there. Okay, so that kind of clarity I'm talking about. But then after a certain while, all these things may not matter. You want to turn spiritually something much deeper than regular life. Okay, so
Yeah.
so one thing is we want to make a living and live. That's one part. But most of the people are overwhelmed by that. But then some people are lucky enough to see, hey, this is not enough. This is nothing. There is something more for human beings to get on a spiritual path and then be satisfied with whatever you have and then turn inside and then realize that that kind of clarity is also submerged because every day you get up you have so many new things coming up your way, and you lose all that you have understood, and then you be swept away by the current of events. So why I took this personality thing is many people are stuck in that personalityhood. Okay, spirituality wise, you go beyond the personhood and then realize that we are all one and all that. So I'm not going even there. I'm just kind of so like for example, you had in your life some opportune times when you have to decide which way to go. Should I be encouraging the pharmaceuticals, or should I be taking a stance against them for the planet? That was the clarity that you had. And then that shaped your direction, that shaped your work and endeavors and all of that. Many people don't have that clarity, and they kind of suffer. See what I mean? That's what I was talking about. Hi, Santosh. So it's a question of paying attention to that. How do we do that? That's what I was focusing on. Um, for example, when we get up in the morning, and we usually driven by what is coming at us, what is ahead of us, what is we need to fulfill as people, as responsible adults or parents or whatever. People get caught in that, and then majority of the energy goes there, and by the time they realize they're old and they're alone, then they don't have a life purpose. Prasad, at least you have the life purpose of planetary involvement and really helping youngsters to live better life down the line. So that kind of orientation is there. And then whether you get the money or not, you don't care because you have so much clear in your vision of where you have to go, right? So that's very missing in a lot of people. So how can we help them? How can we help them not to be influenced by the conditioning factors of our society, the family, school, parents, friends, and everything? I kind of recommend people take a little bit of time off for all this and sit down and reflect on what's going on, what's happening, and be aware of what is happening in the world and also around you, within you. And then you may come up with some serious questions of who am I, what am I, where I'm going. That kind of reflection is needed. Many people don't do that. Even I see a lot of people in the very deep discussions about spiritual matters or existential issues. They listen, but they don't seem to as allowing that to happen in their life. Okay, there is a knowing, but there's a gap for being that, and the knowing disappears because something else comes and takes the place of this. So the clarity is not there because we are crowded with a lot of information, a lot of pressures, superficial. And then we have an inkling inside, oh, this is what I want to do in my life, this is where I want to go. And that is suppressed because they want to be keeping up with the Joe Jones, and then they want to be measuring up to the standards of the superficial society. And they say, unless my colleague and me are par economically, I have not made it. That kind of thing. So, assessment of what you have outwardly takes precedence about what you are. But then eventually you will be what you are, and you will have to confront that. That's where the clarity really helps. And then you don't have to bother about other people's opinion, other people's conclusion, but you go ahead with clarifying your mission and then pursuing it, what you want to do. It's a big deal because lots of education in India also, they kind of say you become doctor or engineer or nowadays maybe engineer, mathematics and IT technician and all that. So people who want to stay in the villages do want to do, obviously they don't have the means or they don't have the motivation to be a simpler life like that. So that's what I'm saying. If the clarity is not there in the mind, it will not come in the regular life outwardly. And people will be pursuing things that they may not really like or really have pleasure doing it. But then by the time they realize they're already established in those routines, and then they don't know what to do. So that's what I was hoping. What do you say, Prasad?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Sometimes, I also have the same feeling that you mentioned. Some friends of mine also seems to be very involved on the moment, but again, as soon as it is over, maybe after a few minutes, perhaps even in the next day onwards, they behave totally different. They think, I believe that they listen and they enjoy. They seem to be enjoying it, and they also contribute a bit, and then suddenly they get distracted. Help me out here. Sometimes I feel like is this the thing that would come with their internal complexities, the resistance that they fear that they would undergo, or is that just the money, or maybe their conduct all their life along? I know that amuses me, that surprises me all the time. They seem to be very interested and totally seems to be very, very distracted. I do not understand the motive. And the beauty here is, even though they get distracted and they don't have to opine the same way with us, but the relationship as friendship remains. This is another thing that I think is an inherent character or behaviorism that we develop over a period of time.
There was a
What do you say about these things?
there was a story that was told in about the Mahabharata war that happened way back in India, and when the people who don't know, there was a big war in India that happened really, but then there were two groups, right? One group is evil, other group is kind of nice, and they want to be nice, but they are deprived of what is their hak, what their right is. So and the Krishna, who is the leading character in that, he tries to prevent the war. And but then in the war, he teaches the prince what to be in his mind while he's fighting the war. Okay, the guy obviously depressed because he doesn't want to kill his people. So, but before he talked to him on that war front, actually he makes an effort to go to the evil prince and then tells him, "Hey, what you are doing is not right." Then that guy says, "Don't tell me what is right, what is not right. I know what is right, what is not right. But the thing is, something compels me from inside to do the not so right thing because I can't help it." So that is there. So um, people don't realize this compulsion that they have is because of the balance of what we call gunas, which is the energies. Like, one way to look at it is kind of disdain, and then you are made to do these things, and the divine determines all that. That's the people who are believers, faith, and all those, they believe that. Other way it is the chemistry itself that kind of provoked by the environmental stimuli that you have, and then you are brainwashed that if I have all the kingdom to myself, I will have all these pleasures and I have the power, and nobody can really destroy me. But then bigger viewpoint is all these accumulations, all the desires that we have are temporary. Obviously, we know that at our age we have been to the life and we had the desires, we had the monies, we had the accumulations and all that. But then we found out ourselves they're not really fulfilling in the long run. We may have some possessions and they may please us for a while. That's what everybody is pushing these days. How much money you can make, how short, how easily you can make. Monetization. How much money you can make with this? Even the spiritual products, they are doing that, right? But then the people who really had those money, if you ask them, they are miserable, they are empty, they are not satisfied. They don't have the complete fulfillment. For example, you are working for the planet, and you go and inspire some people to really realize that and to contribute, and they go and tell 10 more people. That's more fulfilling to you than them giving you $1,000 a piece, right? So the a fulfillment that we have from the, that's what they said, there are four ways for the human personality to pursue. One is just accumulate, that is ardha, make monies and all that, or degrees or whatever intellectual properties, and then desire, kama, you can go on. So like a Hollywood, one side of us is all about that pleasure and desire and all, and the Wall Street on the other side is about accumulation of all the things. So both of them are non-fulfilling in the long run. And the moment you realize that, then you say, okay, then what it is? Then you say it is the moksha, liberation from your own limited mind. Once you realize that, then you want to go beyond mind. But as long as his mind is there, you will have no clarity because you have so many forces coming at you, so many stimuli coming at you. And then you want to really pursue all those things, and then sometimes people may not even have time or resources or the patience to stop and reflect on, is this really something that I want to do? That's where I'm saying the clarity about life's pursuits, about the temporary nature of all these pursuits, and what is really permanent fulfillment that is there when you understand your own mind and transcend it. That is the clarity that if it comes up to you, then you are very much, you are in the heaven here on earth. So that's something, a deeper philosophy. But usually, why are we not allowing the kids to see this side of deeper philosophy? For example, in India, I know this age-old tradition, like where they were teaching this knowledge of this, immense universe, or everything. That's the Brahman. They call education on the unconscious, not unconscious, more like a purified consciousness, and then manifestation of body, mind of that, and then you learn about this. So, but the main thing is a Brahma Vidya, they call it. Like a education on the reality, real reality. And then they are allowed to go and form the households and head of households, and then work in the society, contribute to society and all that. But then in the last quarter of their life, they are invited to go back into that Brahma Vidya where they will study. But the clarity is much easier for them because they are not swept away by the temporary materialistic nature of things. So they can see everything like that, and then they can be very spiritually ripe to receive this. So that clarity is not there. Then you never know something about this, and then you never know that bliss that you comes with your transcendence of your mind and your spirituality. Then you will be enamored by what you can get out of the education, the monies, the accumulations, the relations, the desires, and all that. The whole movement of it is called bhoga in yoga. And when you develop kind of a dispassion for this and go into other lifestyle, that's called yoga. So that's the division that comes there. But most of the Americans, most of the Indians nowadays, they are immersed in this, attachment and really attracting to temporary things and enjoying that. They don't have the dispassion for these disappearing small things, temporary things. You cannot force it. The people have to clarity to really embrace that. But then once you are really detached to these temporary material things, and then you land up in your spiritual quest, then you say, hey, I don't need all these things. I can have a simple life. That's where the planet is helpful too. Once you are simple, you are not a rampant consumer. You are not really leaving a large footprint, carbon footprint on the world, because you are leading a simple outward life where you are using very few resources of the earth. That's why we are not damaging that. Nowadays, now we are doing that, right? So lack of clarity of what is a human being, what human being can aspire with his intelligence, what are the limitations of the body and the mind, and how can you be beyond these limited tools to the unlimited joy and bliss that comes with realizing who you really are. I'm sure Lois really knows what I'm talking about. She talks about this all the time. So know who you are, establish yourself in that. That clarity is there. Then you can manage your body, you can participate in the society, but without these inner urges about things that are not really important, but we give so much importance to that. And that's why our personality is swayed by so many people, so many influences, and then you never are going with the way. And then you may feel it internally. You may have this instinct. Let me go and get this more important thing. But then you don't know about it and you are swept away. That's why kids should have a clarity. Parents should have a clarity. What kind of things this kid is displaying? What is he into? What makes him tick? What is really helps him to say, okay, this is what I want to do. For example, he wants to be like a singer, or he wants to be a writer, or he wants to just help people and be a healthcare worker. You can identify those traits from the beginning and then let him do what makes him happy versus what the society is approving, what society is giving a few monies. But then when they grow up, they're so unhappy doing the job, or they're so unhappy with the person that was given to them or whatever, and then they go to the addictions and all that to relieve from that pain. So encouraging people to sit with their own self and have a reflection of what I'm doing, where I'm going, what is it, what the those kind of clarity in what they pursue goes a long way. In the long run, how they touch that happiness and bliss that is inside. Is it too much what I said? I keep on going and without any.
No. And I'm with you. See, I'm even remembering a conversation that we had with my son. When I say we, actually, my wife had a conversation with my son. This happened after I took a different route, and my wife Sudha works in corporate world, and we have different opinion on those things. But we professionally agree to disagree, and we deal with that in a way, utmost respect. One day, she was pushing my son on certain things. Many Indians are into this competition thing. You get very good education, and you have to do this, that, and obviously in Indian culture, parents' ambitions are going to be the kids' target, right? So she was trying to explain that you should become this and that. He surprisingly told what I think. I never forced or influenced him to think like that or whatever it is. He just said, if I am happy in working with McDonald's, do you have a problem with that? And my wife got surprised, and she thought, this kid might agree with whatever she's trying to suggest in terms of doing a job, whatever it is. And she suddenly looked at me and kind of suggesting me like that, like some kind of thing. But again, we don't know, this kind of things, that really hit me also, because even kids has this thing, and unfortunately, in many Indian families, parents rub on them, and then they try to
That is
comply with us.
that's an aspect when parent wants to do something, he is not able to do it, and he want to impose on the kids to deliver it for him. So, for example, he wants to be an actor, and he could not be an actor. Then, he wants the son to be actor so that his desire is fulfilled through him. So, kind of imposing on the kid's direction, but his impulse may be different. So the clarity is not there for him. I'm kind of making him to go into certain direction that he may not have heart in it. Many people resent that parents pushed them, society pushed them, and all that. So how do you have the clarity is I do a test with some of the physicians as to write. I want to write them down. What is it that makes them tick, and are they doing that at least 50% of the time? What does their life reflect, and are there other choices that they could do apart from what they are doing? And whatever that somebody wants to go out hiking, somebody wants to go out and spend some time with the sea, or just take it easy, and they cannot do it because as physicians they are busy. I encourage them to do that. I encourage them to do them, and also get the time for the reflection of whatever is happening on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly, whatever suits them, or maintain a daily daily journal, and then they can document that and come back and read it, see how their mind is at one time. Santosh, how are you?
Doctor, I'm good. I was just listening to you both, amazing people here, and yeah, I'm just truly enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
Though I was a bit a little on and off, but whatever you are saying, that's really great. Like people get lost. Actually, people get lost because people get lost in certain ways. Some people lost in to their achievement and success. Some people lost in the money. Some people lost in here and there. But the thing is, the life is so beautiful. We have to look at the things in a different perspective, right? So I live my life in a very holistic way. What I say, that's what I do. Like, Doctor, I heard a lot from you, and you're such an amazing person. And that's the reason I'm coming always whenever I get opportunity. In the morning, I was in different clubs, different people are talking different things, right? But at the end of the day, whatever you do,
I think he had a call. Uh, See
yeah,
what?
I know Santosh as well. We had brief interactions earlier. He's also involved in innovation or something. So,
Okay.
yeah. So he's an interesting person too. And yeah.
Yeah, he comes
yeah,
here.
This is really important. What you touched upon today is worth of millions. People need to understand all these intricacies. Ignoring ROI at some point of time in their lives.
No, as I involve with patients and with family, with other people, most of the time they come when they are in really unhappy or anxious or plain depressed or really lost their way, and then they kind of in a mood to listen. What's going on? Let me see what maybe something. An actor came to me. He's a very popular actor, and he is kind of lives on the adoration of his fans, right? So he kind of projects an image like I'm a very happy person, and I don't have any problems inside. And then so he presents that persona of being happy and joyful and all. But then he began to listen to me, and then he came to be with me for 3 4 days here. What happened was I invited him. Okay, you can come. We can sit down and take some time to reflect on what it is. What it is I don't want to say that to him you are this, this, this. I want him to discover how he is. Okay, that requires for him to sit down and reflect on things. But when he came in, he would not put his phone aside, and he would continue to talk about his appointments and all those, which can wait. But then he didn't really retreat from his routine, you know. Mm-hmm. So I was giving him an opportunity where he will not be disturbed here, no mob or anything, and just enjoy the family, and then the cooking of my wife, and then uh, just there's a meditation room, there is a yoga room, and we can sit down and explore these things very comfortably. In the moment he came in, he in the first room on the he just sat in the living room, and then he said, I already ate, but he accepted something like a light. And then after drinking the fruit juice or whatever, and then he immediately fell asleep completely in there. Then he told me, oh, this atmosphere is so calm and quiet here. It affected me. I was able to sit down and then sleep off. And then he slept off for 2.5 hours, very deep sleep, you know. But then he woke up, but then he would not retreat what was his lifestyle, which was like attending to a lot of calls, a lot of making video unconscious. He is videoing everything that he is with. He is not stopping to enjoy that scene. He is more interested in taking video footage and go and upload it on the Facebook and all. So there was never a moment of stepping back and touching your inner self. That's what I'm talking about. So he lost an opportunity to really reflect on himself when he had this time. Okay, he didn't have to do any household work, no cooking, no work, so that make opportunities of retreating from your regular life. Maybe I do it on a moment to moment basis, but other people may do it every half a day or 1 week, whatever is convenient for them. But then this has to be important reflection on your experiences. One thing is, before you go to bed, if you reflect on your daily reactions, whatever experience that you had, you will have a suggestion about what are the things that really perturbed me, that really made me uncomfortable, and what are the things that I really enjoyed. Having a panoramic view of your experiences, and then evaluating them, and then uh, dropping the trivialities, and then learning the important lessons, which will improve your behavior next time. That's why have a clarity of what happened. Have a clarity of why you behaved that way. Don't justify, don't be self-righteous, but then look at it. There was something very important that J. Krishnamurti said. He said, clarity is looking at things as they are. If you are in touch with, hi Mirza, so if you are in touch with what is, without any prejudice or without any pre kind of um, you have an opinion about it. No judgmental thing. Hi Mirza, how are you?
I'm good, Dr. Rao. How are you? How's everything, sir?
Very good, very good. I enjoy when I come and talk to friends. So these things are pretty good. And we are just talking about uh, what is clarity, and clarity itself is kind of a blessing. That's what I was exposing here, and I was inviting people to reflect on their day or week or month as a habit, and then learn from that, and then automatically, if you can see what you are doing without you justifying it, that it takes a complete different outlook. We were talking about kids not having clarity, being pushed into something that they don't like, and then society is pushing people. So people are lost lots of times, but they don't spend enough time as a human personality and look at, say, what ticks me, what really appeals to me. Let me do that, even though it is not profitable, that kind of thing. What do you think, Mirza?
I think clarity to me comes from the actions.
Yeah.
Keeping your words to yourself
Mhm.
with complete integrity and honesty and courage, and uh, betting on yourself on a highest degree.
Yeah.
Uh, with the transparency and vulnerability, authority, authenticity. If I tell myself like, hey, listen, I am going to do X, Y, Z, and if I do X, Y, Z, that will give me the clarity. And if I tell myself, hey, listen, I am going to do ABC, and I don't do ABC, then like there's a piece of me that will be like, hey, you're out of alignment, you're out of integrity. So that so basically clarity to me is you want to do something and that is important for you, that is your logical alignment, but then at the same time you have to be emotional about it. Emotional alignment also has to be there. And then there's a third type of alignment, and I'm going to give you an example. This is what I mean by that. Every year people have a new year resolution. Year changes, nothing changes unless or until we make a new permanent shift and change, right? Year changes, nothing changes unless or until you and I make a permanent sustainable shift and change. So we want like physical fitness. Okay, I'm logically aligned. It's not the stuff that we don't know that's the problem. It's the stuff that we don't know and we don't do that's the problem. You know why? Because we are logically there, but we are not emotional about it. But if I say myself, hey, listen, I need to lose weight, I'm logically aligned, but I have to be emotional about it. If I don't work out every day, I'm going to end up diabetic. I'm going to end up like having cardiovascular disease, God forbid. And my kids are not going to see the healthy father. I'm not going to be able to provide for my family. Now emotions are involved. Logically aligned, emotionally aligned. Third alignment is your physical alignment. You have to take action. Knowledge plus action, action plus knowledge equal results. Knowledge without action is nothing. Action without knowledge is nothing. So third alignment is I have to do action, do the work, it works. I have to do something that is required. Do what. Fourth alignment is when you are spiritually aligned with the vision in it. And once you act on it, and then you are persistently, with the grit and stamina, overcoming and becoming, with the discipline, you're doing it consistently. That's when you're bringing the integrity. Then you're logically aligned, emotionally aligned, physically aligned, spiritually aligned. That will actually brings you more clarity. The more you know yourself is the more you grow yourself. What you tell yourself is what you sell yourself. So once you're clear, then obviously
you touched a big question in spirituality, Mirza. Let me explain what it is. See, most of the people spend years and years of study of whatever the spiritual books, modern or ancient, whatever, right? And they listen so much from other people who are spiritually inclined or advanced and all. That's all. We put it one bracket as knowing, having clarity of what is that they are talking about. Okay, and they know that what we think, what we speak, what we act should be aligned. Manasa, vacha, karmana. That means manasa means in the mind what I know, and vacha is by what I speak, and then karmana is what I do. That's what Mirza was talking about. So all these things in alignment, then knowing should be being. Knowing is being. But then that is the crux of the problem. Many people know what is right, what is not right, what is they want to do, but they cannot do it because something compulsory happens. There was a book by Jonathan Haidt. If you are interested, look at it. It's a happiness hypothesis. He gives a very beautiful example that is actually borrowed from Indian folklore, ancient wisdom. He talked about, look at the elephant and also Mahout, that is the driver of the elephant on the top of the elephant. He seems to control the elephant. Obviously, it's a much larger, much bigger, much stronger animal than the man who is driving it. But the elephant seems to listen to this man and goes wherever he wants to go. It won't go and ride on the bananas on the side or the people, anything like that. How does that happen is because he trained that animal ever since it was a baby. So our body is, that's what Mirza was talking about. Our body doesn't listen, even though our intellectually we made some resolutions of the New Year resolutions. When it comes to the time in the morning to get up, the body is an elephant. because it is not trained, it won't listen. The same with the mind also. That's another big elephant. So you got to train it, you got to practice it. You know, there was a interesting question on meditation to Krishna by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He tells him, "Hey Krishna, you told me this meditation technique, meditation ways, and all that, but that doesn't work for me because mind is like a wind; it flies off all over." Then he tells him, "Yeah, that is very true. Mind goes up all over. You got to have two things for that. One is practice, other one is vairagya, dispassion about things. But if you are enamored by all these outward things and going after it, the senses and intellect going after them, which is our current condition anyway, it cannot really revert back to calming down, keeping our inner self, and then meditation. So in the United States, many people meditate, but few people really have that silent mind, solitude of mind, serenity of mind, operating all the time. They may have like a vacuum. The mind goes all over and they sit down and they meditate. And then they do everything. But they don't have this steady state of serenity. That is where the meditative awareness operates, and out of which you operate everything else. So you don't really do that vacuum thing, right? Why? Because they do practice, but they don't have the dispassion. Many of them, I'm not generalizing, many of them. Lifestyle is for to gain things and not to have any dispassion about them. Lifestyle is to accumulate things and all that. But then real spirituality comes in when you have seen these are all temporary and you developed a dispassion, vairagya. That is missing in modern life. Not just Americans, in India also, everybody is like that now, right? So, but then the beauty of it is when you calm your mind, close your eyes, turn inward, touch that joy and the bliss that's already there, that is really a blessing. So that's why what Mirza was saying about, we may think, we may want something, but when it comes to the real application and really looking in the life, it's not there because of the lack of clarity. What is what? That's what we are talking about here. Very nice, Mirza. That's a very important point we touched upon on that. The clarity of what is human intelligence, what is human happiness. Is it outside or inside? Is it because of the things and the desires, or is it because of the uh, turbulent mind is transcended, and that's where you have peace of mind, and also you have joy and bliss that you are touching because your mind is quiet, calm. That also requires a lot of practice. First of all, you have to understand my mind is not staying here. Then I have to do something about it. Actually, I don't know you guys know about the 8 steps of Patanjali Yoga. Any idea?
I heard about Patanjali Yoga, but again, I'm not followed the entirety of it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But the thing is, we can see they have Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is a real Patanjali Yoga. Nowadays, they made few postures and then they made to Ashtanga Yoga. I mean, that's a practice of physical yoga. But what it is he talked about some socially how we have to be. That's 5 things together as yamas. And personally how we have to be. That's 5 principles as niyamas. The first step is yama, then niyama. Social etiquette. So how you, that means you have to speak the truth, don't be violent, all those things come. Then don't steal, be celibate, don't be licentious with sexuality, and then don't accumulate things. So they're called satya, ahimsa, asteya, and brahmacharya, and aparigraha. And then niyamas are something that we do with ourselves. Saucha, that is cleanliness. Santosha is contentment. And tapas, that is like the practice, and then Ishvara Pranidhana, like surrender to the God, like that, five that way and five this way, and then the uh, Swadhyaya is the fifth one in the Niyamas. That means self-study. Okay, those are the two first. Then you practice physical asanas. That's the third step. And the fourth step is practice energy control, prana control. That's a pranayama, breathing exercise and all. And the fifth one is pratyahara, withdraw all your senses so that you will have dharana, which is concentration or focus, and then dhyana, which is the meditation, and then you will go into absorption of the dhyana into samadhi, like you don't have any movement of all that. Those eight are done the reverse way, then you will understand the significance of what this is all. Many people do say, I don't know how to focus because my mind is flickering. Why are they flickering? Because your senses are going out, right? And when they're going out, you cannot have the focusing of the mind. So why are the senses are going out? Because I have a lot of sensations, a lot of attractions that draw me out, that take me to there, right? And then, so how do? You have to control your own pranic energy, within you. How do we control that? By having some really steadiness in the body. Those things are not possible these days. People are, because we are slaves to the comments, slaves to the insults, slaves to the whatever somebody praises and all that, and that steadiness is not there in the body. The prana is not controlled, and that's why senses go out. That's why mind goes all over, and that's why you cannot focus there. So you got to start with the first ones and go up. That is the real yoga. There's a lot in that anyway. So if you understand clearly where you could be as a human being with our own intelligence, instead of being slaves to whatever that comes our way, we will be steady with our convictions, with our values, with our understandings, and then will not fall into the trap of all these things. And that's a very um, we are in control of ourselves, and then we will not be reactive as much, and then we will take things in an equanimous way. All that matters. Unless you have clarity about these things, you will not be able to understand that. Okay.
Wonderful. The Patanjali approach seems to be very, very great in terms of developing personality also with all those elements, eight steps.
Yeah, very important. And then it's very difficult for people to understand Patanjali because all he is talking about is interwoven, and to really deliberately understand separately is important. Then you will be doing those things naturally, and then one thing leads to other, and then meditation is much easier that way. So that's why I gave the exposition of that. Okay. Anybody on the wisdom want to come up? I'm not ignoring you guys, but if you want to come, you're more than welcome. Julie is there, Mary is there, so many people are there. Hopefully, it's appealing to them, this clarity business. They are clear about these things. So, any questions or anything, Prasad? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, this personality thing seems to be like, every individual should have this kind of access, and then develop around these things. Are there any things that we need to consider to have a perfect personality to be developed, to implement? I think it would also come from the childhood. how we evolve depending on the circumstances, on how we think, how we behave, how our reflections would be. What are your thoughts on that line? How do we perfect this personality thing?
Yeah.
Of course, practice makes perfect, but are there any um, tips for reaching the goals?
Yeah. It's a, uh, I think J. Krishnamurti said one time, the way the conditioning of the person is going on now, by the time they are 8 or 9, they are lost because they become more like a conditioned by the pressure from the society and from the parents and all that, because they themselves are not clear about their goals and all that. People will be clamoring just to get some skill to make a living, and really don't know how to deal with the life when it really breaks apart. They don't have that inner resilience and all that, right? So people are learning all these subjects to learn a technique to live, to make a living. That's okay. But beyond that, they don't understand what's life. It's all everything, what is relationship, what is our duty to the planet, to the house, to the societies that we are living in, what is our relationship with a fellow human being. All those things are not really taken up. Only some curriculum, core curriculum, where the language, mathematics, they will come up. It's not that they are bad, but only that, and not focusing on this other aspect is the problem. Then people are so you look at the education, you understand what is the real education. Are you educated only for the university or for the universe? That's the question I think every parent, everybody has to put themselves, and then come to understand and continue to understand. It's not like a you reach a zenith of that, but in spirituality there's a saying, um, you can never be free of the person, but the person can be taken off from your spiritual self. Thereby, you are free of the person, and the person trying to get himself free from that, he may not be able to do. So, personhood is only one aspect of it. But then, initially, you got to have the dignity of a human being, self efficacy, that I can do stuff, I can achieve stuff. That kind of thing should be there. Once you understand, once you learn that, then you will be able to really live a very intelligent, all the guidance coming from your own inner being, and that helps a lot. But if you are looking outwardly and determining everything according to the standard of somebody else, or somebody else wants to do something and they are pushing you, it could be a large society, a materialistic inclination and all that. All over the world is like that, right? So you don't have any relationship with yourself, you don't have any relationship with your nature, outward or inward, and you don't have any relationship with the human being um, at that human being level, right? So you want to really relate with people because you have a transactional mind. I want something to be done, I have something to be given by people, but you cannot really talk to people just for the sake of relating to them, right? So once you have the clarity of that inner development, and then bringing we call it character, but it's not just a character. It is like a deep awareness, deep understanding of what is the human intelligence, how it can be brought about in situations where they will be really. I said something to my son at 10 20. I said, I want you to be self-reliant. That means whatever the decisions that you are making, you just think about it. Is it doing good for everybody, or is it just your selfish need? That kind of self-reliant. Now he's 27. Other day I was talking with him. He said, well, "You taught me that, and I became like that." And now he is a kind of inspiration to his kids, who he's teaching. He's a band teacher, so he teaches them all that. So that is coming through, where they say you got to be self-reliant on yourself about decisions that you could make. Thereby, you kind of gain confidence. Self-efficacy happens in those people. They did experiment in the education system on this. They took some kids, the kids who are facing difficult problems to solve, the mathematics or whatever, they are not bypassing it. They are staying there in exam and trying to finish it off. They did well in life also. But the kids who want to escape the difficult problems and go to the simple ones, that's very, very difficult for them to deal with the actual problem. This is the capacity or faith that I can handle problems in life. If that comes through, then the kids will have a personality of self-efficacy, and then they can go and find out their own spiritual self and all that. Then they will say, okay, all this spiritual is much better than the uh, personality that I have to go after. That also you can observe it, so that becomes an object, so that doesn't become that one. But initially you got to have that self-efficacy. That's what I'm talking about. Once you have that clarity, it's very simple to teach kids also. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The math mentioning is a very valid thing, because it puts through the test and vigor and rigor kind of thing to sustain that kind of demanding focus, and also sustain that competitiveness with solving ability also.
yeah,
I think it's a good example.
they did a psychological experiment, not in ancient times, here in America, around 60s or 70s, I think. They took these kids, only 4 or 5 year old, and this instructor, actually this was filmed. Many people might have seen this already. Bear with me, even if you know it. I think it makes sense what I'm talking about. Uh, so he told, and he came and took a toy, and then with the hand, like a puppet, and then he was playing with it, and that game is won by the kid, for example. Then he says, okay, you deserve a toy now, you deserve a present, Then he said, I'm going to give you marshmallow. And then he puts the marshmallow in front of the kid and then says, wait, don't eat it now. I'm going to go out and come back. And if you can wait till I complete the work and come back, I'm going to give you another one so that you can have two if you wait, you know. But if you eat this, I will not be giving the second one. Okay. And then they actually picturized what the reaction of the kid to wait for the marshmallow that is in front of him or her, right? And then some people could not resist. They went all over, twisting everything, and then they got put down. Before the teacher came, they got put down. So when he came, said, "Oh, you already ate, so I cannot give you the second one." But the ones who waited, he gave the second one. But the interesting thing about this experiment is they followed these kids for another 15, 20 years. What was going on with them, where they are going, what kind of achievements they have, and all. The kids that waited for the second marshmallow and waited for the serving, they did very well in their life. The kids that were tempted and took over the things just like that, just put it down, they were having problems in their life. So from that, they came up, okay, if you can really allow the temptation, that's in ancient India, they called uh, prayas, instant gratification, versus shreyas, what is good for me in the long run. That clarity has to be there from the parents, from the society, from everybody. Then the kids will have easier time, I think.
Very, very relevant mention again. Yeah.
This was a child psychology experiment that was done, but then the basis of that was the one book he read about child rearing in ancient times, how they made them really handle the temptation, handle the instant gratification. Even in my office, we use this principle. So I used to tell my staff, delayed gratification. That means when they come in the morning, You have breakfast, you have everything, and come. And then most of the girls used to carry something from the restaurant, something, and then they want to have that coffee and all of that. But then they have this tendency to relax while they're having, and they sit there and talking to each other now where the patients are waiting and all. So I told them, I want to introduce a principle called delaying your gratification in the morning. Come, gather together, huddle together, and prepare yourself for the rush coming in, for the people who are to come needing attention. And then once you got hold of that, and this is in the motion, then go and have a cup of coffee, and then come back and do your main things first. And then after they are done, take a work break. That will be more pleasant, and more work is done, and also everybody will be happy. So they began to practice that delaying their gratification, for looking for gratification, and taking real pleasure on serving the patients, and they got more out of that. And so when they took the break, it is really rewarding because they deserve that, right? So that also is in the childcare too. They have this ladder approach. That means there are some rewards, one after another, which is greater, one goes up. And whereas if you do certain thing, the kid is given the reward. If you do a better thing, the other reward. Like that, the ladder approach of appreciation or really rewarding them. Whereas if you do something naughty, something that's not going to do, you are not given, you are kind of punished in an indirect way. That ladder approach also is the same principle.
Wonderful. This seems to be a good HR management system also.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and the person, many of the ladies who worked for me, or they came around 17, 18 years of age as the medical assistants, and they grew in the practice. And then they became nurses, they became certifications and all that. And then in the process, I took a lot of interest in their nurturance, how we can develop a personality that is full blown, and how they can. So there I use these ancient principles quite a lot, and then without really bringing any cultural tones and all that, but then understanding the human terms. And then humans are the same anywhere, anyway, So they are all tempted. They are all have this instant gratification. The society also doing. That's one thing we complain about the AI. Even though I am very much into the artificial intelligence and using it for a lot of my work, that's really helping me. So one thing I'm worried about is how it is affecting the attention deficit of the youth and also children, and that's quite concerning. They have this problem with attention deficit and increased rate of suicidal rate, and not able to really sleep well, and not able to focus on the very difficult problems. All that is exaggerated by this technology use. So you have to give some detox for that. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Anyway, I think we talk. Anybody on the wisdom? If you want to come up, this is the last chance. Otherwise, we'll close the room, and then we'll see you again tomorrow. Okay. All right, Prasad. Thanks for coming in, and we had a good discussion about that too. Okay. So.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Thank you for your kind words on me. I really appreciate, and it's a true friendship. Working together on global level on this kind of very, very important things, which makes everybody personality reliable and worthy to take care of each other and also themselves. Thank you again.
Yeah, I will continue the series tomorrow also. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody, on the Wisdom app, and I will be seeing you again tomorrow. Bye.